Who are you? An artist. I was put on this earth to record my experience, to show others what I see as I see it. I'm terrified that I am a failure, that my experience means nothing, that my life has no positive impact on others. I'm scared to look in the mirror one day and frown at what I see. I think I'm scared because I already do this. What's the worth of an artist who has nothing important to say? I'm Sean Bergen, a 19-year-old sophomore at UMass Amherst. I'm an art major currently taking a short-form documentary class via the journalism department. In every context I put myself in, I feel like a fish out of water. I think I'm very human for this. By human, I mean flawed in ways that many others are, but consistently believe that these flaws are unique to me, inherent to me. Everyone feels like a fish out of water when they're new to something, whether it be taking a journalism class as an art major or riding the carousel of life. It really is a balance of fake it till you make it and learning lots of lessons along the way. It's everyone's first time riding. Some are just a few more laps ahead than others. Hopping on. I started the semester real happy, real hopeful. Great plans of grandiosity, adventures to embark on to make up for lost time at the hands of one mean tick. I was sick with Lyme disease for months prior and had spent my break recovering. Caught it real late stage and even developed temporary arthritis in my left knee. It was a real dark, tired, and miserable time. Now past these days in bed and nights spent staring at my ceiling, all I could see was infinite upturn. If I went through last semester with unbeknownst Lyme, this one would be a cakewalk. Nothing could stop me. Even the things that I couldn't change only served to motivate me to work with the things I could. A friend and mentor of mine, Reverend Richard Emanuel, had died over break. He owned this real far-out alternative church in Gloucester, my hometown, since the 60s, and hosted Friday night services every week, apart from COVID times, of course. Me and some friends found this place in high school, and we would show up every now and then, where Richard, along with the usual cast of random characters in attendance, would discuss the nature of art, religion, politics, and overall existence with us. He called it comparing notes, and would emphasize the importance of sharing these notes, actually listening to what we had to say, and encouraged one thing above all, the enjoyment of life. He would tell us this little anecdote. He would be like, man, before you're on Earth, we're all aliens. We're all floating up in the cosmos, you know? And he was looking at the advertisement for Earth, and in big lettering, it said, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. And he was like, all right, this sounds amazing. This sounds wonderful. Without thinking twice, he buys some tickets, heads straight on down, but he didn't manage to read that fine print. Down, in capital letters at the bottom, in very, very tiny text, said, suffering, suffering, suffering. And his whole mediation for all this was, why not just enjoy the big text? You know, there's a whole lot of suffering in life, but God, just enjoy what you can. Don't be such a tight ass, you know? And I really liked that. I would get anxious. I have had anxiety problems for a real long time, and that, I don't know, talking to him really helped me mediate that, made me feel better about the things I couldn't control and feel happy with what I got, you know. I ended up meeting with him a week before he died. It was like some sort of Good Friday scenario. He told me about this terrible sickness he'd come down with, that he'd been having these wild waking dreams, hallucinations, if you will. He would talk at the table in the middle of the room, simmering, vibrating, then dissolving into this cloud of rainbow pixels, flowing around the room, through his body, and reassembling back into the form of the table. Sure, he'd taken a shit ton of psychedelics in his day, but this was like nothing he'd seen before. The next week, he was dead. I say dead, but by no means am I saying gone. A few weeks later, I was telling my buddy James the news of Richard's passing at a record store in town. I was telling him how I knew the guy was dead, but just didn't feel it to be true. Still felt like he was around. You can call it denial, but I refused to believe he was gone. Just as we were leaving the store, wrapping up the conversation, I noticed parked right out front was a car with one of Richard's bumper stickers plastered on the back. I remember stopping, looking at James, and we just stood there and laughed for a second. I believe that when you die, you don't disappear or cease to exist. You go everywhere. Like a law of conservation of order, your consciousness leaves your mind and returns to where it once came. The stars, the universe, the world, everything and everyone. Most of all, Richard lives through all of those he compared notes with. Every life his existence changed for the better. Talk about life, he fucking lived one. And now he surfs those cosmos, freer than ever, still popping in every now and then as a means of punctuality. Rebound. Back at school, things are swell. Slow, but swell. I have my friends. I show them music and art I've made over break. They all seem to really enjoy it. I'm talking to this girl who I really enjoy the company of. Stars seem to be aligning. I love my classes. Work hardly feels like work, and I'm hitting a creative flow state, starting a band and everything. My knee is better each and every concurrent day, the brunt of the pain long past gone. Nothing can drag me down. Months and weeks pass by like nothing, and spring break hits. A state of constant bliss. The best I think I've ever felt. I wake up every morning so damn grateful and excited for the day ahead. I'd go to the ocean, admire that infinite blue beauty. Watch those waves crash against those rocks. Went to the record store every day and would find a random page of a random poetry book to read and find this immense meaning. The first day I came back to Gloucester over break, it was right after the eclipse. There was this lunar eclipse, and as it was rising, this sky, that moon, it was this orange, reddish color, and I pull up this book right here, Selected Poems of Charles Olson. This is the next day, again. Moonset, Gloucester, December 1st, 1957, 1:58 a.m. Goodbye, red moon, in that color you set, west of the cut, I should imagine. Forever, mother. After 47 years this month, a Monday at 9 a.m., you set, I rise, I hope. A free thing as probably what you more were not. The suffering one you sold, sewed me on rise. Mother from off me, God damn you, God damn me, my misunderstanding of you. I can die now, I just begun to live.
One, nobody gets out of this alive. Two, the shrouds don't come with pockets, your collection stays here. And the third thing is, there's no meaning to life unless you create it. It's that simple. And everybody can figure that one out because it's their own story. And you have one task, and that's to find out who you are.